All right, on to a new way to find the slope. All right, so when you were in geometry, you spent a lot of time finding the lengths of segments. So when I say AB, I mean what's the distance from A to B or from B to A on the number line. So it's the length of segment AB or the length of segment BA. Now, if I ask you to count on the number line from 1 to 4, would you see that it would be a total of 3 steps? Well, what about if I ask you to count from -10 to -2 or from -2 to -10 on the number line? Do you see that it would be a total of 8 steps? In both cases, what I'm really doing is just subtracting. So if I say the right coordinate minus the left coordinate, it's going to work out to be a positive length. And in the second case, the right coordinate minus the left coordinate is -2 plus 10 is 8. Most of you are probably not going to do all that. You're just going to be able to think through it really quickly, which is going to make this next method of slope work fast for you. Now, if I ask you to find the length of segment EF, you're going to count from the left -3 to the right at 1 or vice versa. Now, if you do the right minus the left, 1 plus 3 is 4. Usually the way I think of it is I think, okay, if I were to add 0 to the number line, then from -3 to 0 is a total of 3 units, and from 0 to 1 is a total of 1 unit, and 3 units and then 1 unit add up to a total of 4 units. I bet you all knew that already. So again, if I want to find the length of segment GH, I'm going to think from -2 to 0 is a total of 2 units. From 0 to 4 is a total of 4 units. If I hop 2 and then 4 units, I've hopped 6 units. Okay, if you can do those kinds of quick calculations in your head, the next way of finding slope, which is the way I always do it in all my classes, is going to go really, really quickly. Now, one thing that we're going to do is we're going to do little tiny sketches. So I always say, let's call these stamp size sketches, because I want to get you to the idea that you don't have to draw a big old sketch to know what's going on. So if I said, well, how do you plot the point -4, -4? Would you not say, we'll go left 4 and down 4, Miss Porter? Sure. Notice I didn't draw tick marks, because what I'm trying to get you to do is realize that you can do really super quick, tiny little sketches and get a good image right off the bat. Well, how do you plot the point 0, 7? Would you say, well, don't go left or right, but do go up 7? Well, if you were to connect the two dots, would you see that you're winding up with a line that rises? Well, if a line rises, its slope is positive. Well, if I know that, then I know my slope is positive, rise over run. Well, all I need to do now is look at rise and look at run and put them in. So instead of doing y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, which is perfectly fine, I can go faster. Now remember, rise means y's. Well, my y's are -4 and 7. So guys, if you were to count from -4 to 7 on the number line, would you recognize that you were counting 11 steps? And it doesn't matter if you go from -4 up to 7 or from 7 down to -4. It's 11 steps. I'm not worried about the direction that I'm counting in. And then if you were to count run, you count x's. Well, again, if I count from -4 to 0 or from 0 to -4 on the number line, it's a total of 4 steps. I already know the slope is positive, so it doesn't matter whether I count from left to right or right to left. That's the beauty of this method. You count a quick rise, you count a quick run, you've already figured out the slope is positive, and you're done. So instead of finding the slope and then figuring out what the line looks like, I'm figuring out what the line looks like and using it to find my slope. So I'm going to do the same kind of thing here. I'm going to start out and say, I know that the point 1, -4 should be plotted right 1 and down 4. Notice I'm just doing a super quick sketch. I know that the point 1, 2 would be right 1 up 2. Now wait a minute. When I plot those 2 points, I can quickly see that I'm going to wind up with a vertical line. Well, I know that vertical lines have undefined slopes. So I'm not going to worry about doing rise and run. I'm going to use my math facts. So that's the great thing. If you did want to look at rise over run, then I'm going to remind you that rise is wise. And if I rise from -4 to 2 or from 2 to 4, that's a total of 6 spaces. Run is to count the x's. Well, wait a minute. If I jump from 1 to 1, I didn't go anywhere, so I counted a total of 0 spaces. And remember, since 0's under the fraction bar, the slope is undefined. I generally, though, don't do that. If I've got the image of a vertical line, I have my math facts memorized, and I just know the slope is undefined. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to look at my stamp size sketch. So the point 1, 4, I know I should count right 1 up 4. And then the point 3, -1, I know I should count right 3, so I have to go further out and down 1. Well, again, the minute that I plot the 2 points, I can see that my line is diagonal and it falls. So the slope is negative. I have that memorized. So then when I do my slope, I'm going to say, well, it's negative. And now all I have to do is calculate rise and run. Rise is wise. So, I didn't quite get that right. So my rise would be the count from 4 to -1, or the count from -1 to 4. Either way, that count would be 5 spaces. Run means your x's left to right. From 1 to 3 or from 3 to 1 would be a total of 2 spaces. 5 over 2 doesn't reduce. So now I know my slope is -5 over 2. So again, I'm using the image of my little stamp size sketch to know if my slope is positive, negative, 0, or undefined. If the slope is positive or negative, I'm going to find rise over run. Rise means count the y's, and run means count the x's. And I'm not worried about having to subtract here in the order of the way I subtract. So this really, once you practice it, you're going to find this is a lot quicker. So on this one, I start out and I say, well, to plot the point 1, -4, I'm right 1 down 4. To plot the point -7, -4, I need to go left 7 down 4. Oh, look, this sets me up to have a horizontal line. My math facts are memorized, and I know the slopes of horizontal lines are 0, and I'm done.